Councilwoman, the 227,000 units that you're talking about, that is, so this was the distinction that Veronica was alluding to. There's a difference. The question of how many units have five or more units properties, right? That's the number. Yeah, that's right. But that has nothing to do with the amendments that came out that you all made. Your amendment had to do with somebody owning 5 or more units. You're making an assumption that the number of units equates to ownership, and it doesn't. That's an assumption.
Sorry, Mayor, unless the legal team would like to correct me, that would be our interpretation, is that if the property has more than 5, that owner owns more than 5. But it, as the councilman noted, if a property owner has single-family homes and happens to own more than 5, then that would allow those single-family homes to also fall under the ordinance.
Right, but you'd have to make an assumption that that's actually the case. It may not be the case. Okay.
They would all be included because the property itself would have more than 5 units, so that would be owned.
So we could have, I mean, well, depending, right, on how you actually enforce it. If you don't know who owns what, though, and the amendment is based on who owns what, you don't have that. Earlier you said you don't have that level of fidelity. Yes. So under one option, you have 227,000. Under no discrimination, you have 357,000, and you have a lesser burden in terms of enforcement.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Let's to be very clear.
Mary, let me clarify this, because I don't want to get wrapped around the wheel here. If you all ask Veronica and me to produce a list of the 227,000 units and the owners, we can't do it because that doesn't exist.
That's right.
If we get a complaint about owner Walsh, then we will follow a process to nail down that person and whether or not how many properties they have. But we can't produce the list of owners off of 227 because it doesn't exist. And so there's two, I think y'all are talking about two different things here.
The point that you made is exactly the issue, is that if you don't know how many units somebody owns, that's in fact what the amendment is based on, that's the challenge.
No, ma'am, that's not the challenge. The challenge is it doesn't make any difference what the challenge is. Whatever you guys vote and approve, we're gonna enforce. You point the hill, we take it. So it doesn't really make any difference whether we can produce a list of the 227, the 357. It really doesn't make any difference. It's what the ordinance calls for and what the process of enforcement is for us.
Couldn't agree more. The difficulty, what I'm alluding to, is the difficulty, as pointed out by Veronica in her response, about the difficulty of enforcing the amendments based on the lack of reliable data, which you also just described.
Mayor,
yes, and I understand.
I really don't want to. I don't really want to debate you on the enforcement part of it, but it's not up to Veronica to decide what you guys approve.
No, that's right.
Veronica's just factually saying that we don't have a list of owners. It doesn't exist. But if we get a complaint, we will investigate and do the enforcement. It's not on Veronica.
No, on Veronica. Yeah. So I think we're talking past each other here. I'm not saying it's on Veronica. What I'm saying is, when asked what enforcement looks like based on the amendments that came out of PCDC, the amendments are based on how many units somebody owns. Veronica, in her email, clarified we don't have a reliable source of information about how many units somebody owns. Therefore, it's difficult to enforce if you don't have the data upon which you're actually making those enforcement decisions.
Mayor, that sounds like you're putting it on Veronica.
Okay.